He's been clamoring to be on for months, this guest that we have on today. Hi, I'm Sid. This is Average Trey, my co-host. We have Ginger on for episode 18 of Video Games Are Hard.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
Welcome, Ginger.
Hey, not just Ginger, Luminosity Gaming Ginger, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We use official gamer titles here.
Yes, very true.
I remember messaging you when you got picked up by Luminosity, and you were like, thanks. And I'm like, you probably got a shit ton of DMs saying similar things.
I always try to reciprocate. If someone says, like, congrats on sponsorship, smiley face, I say, like, thank you, smiley face. Or, like, I give them the exclamation point back. I try to match their energy. So hopefully I did that pretty well for you.
It's like sending an email at work. You got to use the playful exclamation point so you don't seem too serious.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a strat to move up in the corporate world.
I don't remember how you responded specifically. I just remember you being like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. But you know what? Since we've been talking about it, we talked about last week the guest we are about to have on, which is you, or we were about to have on.
Uh-huh.
We did mention you, or I did mention you about how bad you are with responding to DMs.
I'm so good at it.
Damn, the call out.
This is your own words.
You know what was really, really funny? This is so funny. So we talked about how bad I was at responding to DMs, and then Sid comes into my chat and tells me that I need to respond to the DMs.
Oh, yeah, and then Sid, before that, Sid asked me, should I say this in Ginger's chat because he's not responding to me? I'm like, no, I'm like, don't do it, that'd be hella awkward. And he's like, well, he did say before he'd want to come on. I'm like, okay, go for it.
Yeah, like, I know a few months ago you were berating me in the chat, being like, when the fuck am I going to be on this podcast?
Heck yeah. Okay, so the funny part comes when you then send me, like, this big, long DM about, like, times and dates and blah, 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 and I respond with capital howdy. and then I left my house, and I forgot that I was supposed to write things after that.
Howdy.
And then you just said, what a beautifully crafted response. And I was like, oh, I never said anything after howdy, did I? Oh, my God.
Yeah, so yeah, I just joined your chat, because I DM'd Trey being like, oh, should I just, like, ask him in the chat? Like, I don't think he cares. And Trey was just like, nah. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the relationship. Like, me knowing KO, your friend KO, as much as I do, like, we haven't been, like, in contact a lot, but, like, I don't know. I feel like there's some, I don't know, not connection, but, like, we have the KO connection, so we're, like, good.
Wait, so
yeah.
When's the last time you guys talked? Was it the Rico 4 grind?
Oh,
probably.
God.
I remember those days.
Probably, like, little messages here and there or something, you know, like being in my chat or whatever. I honestly haven't been in your chat at all, Sid.
No, that's fine.
But the Rico 4 grind, we hung out for hours that day. That was nutty.
Plankton Secret Formula got a decent time in Rico 4, and Ginger was motivated to beat it for no reason.
And then Sid was motivated because he's like, I don't want these kids bopping me, so he had to improve his time.
But it was really hard.
It was hard.
Honestly, it's a hard level to, like, fully optimize, because the more optimal you play, the more dive rollouts you're doing, and it's like, every single time you get more dust on a single rollout, it makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Ginger was sitting there grinding his ass off, and I was sitting there grinding my ass off, and, like, not. And I have 8 years of experience in this video game, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just came from Melee. I don't know. I kind of do this for fun every so often," and I'm just, like, sweating bullets. I'm like, I think I have to beat him. Do I have to beat him?
Here's the thing too: is that Colin was initially KO, just in case somebody doesn't know. Was also motivated to beat this time, and Colin gave up real fast, and it just became me and Sid, which is very funny. But then, didn't you tell me? Didn't Trey just come and annihilate it insanely fast?
Oh yeah,
I improved my time a lot. I got like a 30.29 or something. Didn't beat Capital, but I was close.
Yeah, I think like 3 hours after we did our grind, Trey was just like, "Oh yeah, I just like destroyed you guys by 0.7," and I'm just like,
"Yeah, I phrased it in the most asshole-ish way possible too." Yeah, I just destroyed you guys. You know, no big deal.
I change everybody's phrasing to make it as offensive as possible. But yeah, so I went into your to finish the DM thing. I just went into your chat and said, "Hey," and you were just like, "Oh yeah, Sid, you know, I looked at your DM, totally ignored it, let it get buried. I want to be on the podcast."
Yeah. The thing with me is that I always give people permission to just bug me as much as they want. Like, you could just bump that DM a million times if you wanted to. Like, I get all the notifications on my phone. Like, I would eventually, respond.
Say no. You say yes or no.
Or howdy.
or
howdy.
Hey, do you want to be on the podcast? Howdy, all caps.
What a beautifully crafted response.
But yeah, now you're finally here. This long-awaited pod. We only do 2 podcasts or 2 guest podcasts a month.
Wow,
on average.
Yeah. Well, like, it makes sense. It's just like, a few months ago, you're like, I want to be on the podcast. I'm like, well, it's not really like we'll eventually have you on. Yeah. I don't know.
I was just going to say quickly, I really am excited and proud to be on this podcast.
What do you expect to talk about on this podcast?
I don't know.
I'm not even sure if I know.
Here's the thing. Colin's been on this podcast, so I imagine you could just talk to somebody about anything, because that guy's got nothing going on in his life. So, how do you have a 2-hour-long conversation with Colin?
Fair enough.
We had him on for the top 10 video games podcast as well.
And that was like
we had him on twice.
Hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Colin was telling me he's going to play some of the games that were on your guys' lists.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he plays Soul Calibur 2, I'll be happy.
Oh, you like Soul Calibur 2?
Oh, you like that game too?
Here's the thing is, I'm 26.
It's the 9th best game of all time.
I'm 26 years old now. I can't remember how old I was when it came out, but my brother was really good at it, and like my friend group at the time played it a ton. Mostly Soul Calibur 3, but we also love Soul Calibur 2.
Okay.
How old's your brother?
He is 12 years older than me, so he's 38
that's quite
now.
the difference. Wait, you said you're 26?
I'm 26.
I am the same age as you, Ginger.
Wow.
What are the chances?
That's why I asked how old your brother was, because Trey's older brother is my age.
Oh, no way.
29.
Right now, he's 28, going on 29 in January. So
we're not... All right, so I
not exactly, but it's cool.
So you teased, actually before the podcast. How do I say this swimmingly? How did we work in your joke before the podcast? How do we work this in?
Wait, we have to tell this joke a third time?
We have to tell the joke the third time.
All right, so how about that video I put out recently, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear God. You know what? It is a fantastic video.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to cut right to it, all right? I'm not playing this game. So, here's the thing. Super Mario Sunshine, I'm trying to learn the speedrun. Let me just cut. I'm going all the way, okay? I'm trying to learn the speedrun because it's one of my favorite games. It seems like it could be entertaining. Seems like it's a good stream game, right? And I end up like asking the Discord, the Super Mario Sunshine Discord. I'm like, hey, where's the fucking frame data for this shit? Where am I? How do I know how long I'm supposed to press what button to do what technique in what place? And all I get ever people in my Twitch chat come in, people in the Discord are just like, oh, you just feel it out, bro. And I'm like,
you get a feel for it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get a feel for it, okay? Do you know how long that takes? That's like asking somebody to go like practice basketball, and they're like, yeah, well, what kind of like form do I have to have when I shoot? And they're like, you'll get the hang of it. It's like, what? I want to learn. So, I'm telling this joke in reverse now. So
I know.
This is like the extended, like director's cut version of the joke.
Exactly.
He said the joke twice in the pre-podcast, and now he's just like jumping to the end of the joke.
So, Trey put out this lovely video. Really great video all about spin jumping. Wow. Very cool.
Very epic.
Went over a lot of details that are involved in spin jumping, went over a lot of the weird quirks and how to define different types of spin jumps.
And the frame data. You're welcome, by the way.
And the frame data. And so I'm watching this. I was like, wow, this is the type of content that I wish would have come out if I was trying to learn the speedrun. But then I said, I think you could have saved a lot of time on this video. It's like 24 minutes long or so. You could have saved a lot of time if you just said, just gonna get a feel for it after a while,
Oh, this is my reaction to it.
That's exactly how it was. Yep.
I remember that stream. I remember coming into your chat and you're just like learning GBS. I have it in my notes. I was thinking about like, what do I want to talk about to Ginger about?
You know what? In all fairness, in GBS, you just gotta get a feel for it.
No way.
Sometimes you don't clip with the coconut, bro. It actually happens where you don't clip.
Where you don't clip? That's if you don't
it happens.
That's only if you don't space yourself correctly on the roof, right?
No.
There's
It can randomly happen.
really
No
specific
way.
spots you can stand in where like you'll drop it, you'll be running towards it, and for some reason you just like don't even clip.
No
Yeah.
way.
It's very rare though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on my list of things to talk to Ginger about, professional Melee player, we haven't acknowledged that yet.
Oh yeah, sure.
But just sure.
Wait, can I say like the one thing I know about Melee like in the past 2 months?
Yeah.
Yes, go.
All right, biggest Ginger news of all in recent times. I'm sure we're all aware. Recent tournament, low, as in like the laundry detergent or like water coming in, Tide City, right?
That's
not,
right.
Not low tier, low Tide City. Because
Thumbs up.
Up until this point, Sid and I were saying, "Oh yeah, dude, Ginger won low tier city. We'll talk about that." And then a few minutes ago, Sid DMs me over and over, Tide, Tide, Tide. Don't say tier. Like, oh, dude, it's Tide. What
Why
the
are
fuck?
you saying this? Why are you saying this?
Because it's funny. All right.
Okay.
But yeah, low Tide City, you won that tournament. Congrats, dude.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's my first national win ever, which is really exciting. Also, I don't know if you guys know this. It's literally run by the same people that ran Low Tier City.
Perfect.
Oh,
It's
so
the
it's related. Okay.
It's the exact same tournament. It's just that they ran it at a water park this time, so they had fun with the name.
Wait, so was low tier city like you could play anyone, not even just low tiers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just the name.
It's a bit of a misnomer, but I'll let it slide.
Yep. I actually have the best Kirby in the world, so I would actually be in contention for winning a low tier tournament. But you know,
Oh damn, you would destroy.
Yep.
Wait, is there solid like facts or like receipts to back up this Kirby claim?
There's a Kirby Discord, and they kind of talk about how I would be the best if I played. I've beaten multiple top 100 players with my Kirby in money matches.
Oh, wow.
But the thing is, I'm never going to go to a national and play Kirby in a real bracket, you know, because it's my job.
Do you think that part of winning as Kirby comes down to the opponent crumbling under the pressure of, oh fuck, I better not lose, it's Kirby?
I don't want to lose to a Kirby.
Yes, absolutely. So what ends up happening is that there are two types of people when I play against them as Kirby. There are thinkers and there are doers. And the thinkers are infinitely easier to beat. Because those people are like, oh god, this is Kirby. I can't lose against this Kirby. I have to like camp this guy by doing this thing. Yeah. And like in that split second where they're thinking about some dumbass Kirby thing, I'm hitting them, right? The doers just do. And Kirby cannot do anything about anybody's options in the game. So if people just have this reckless abandon, then it's impossible for me to win. But yeah, the people that get nervous or think about it a little bit too much, those people are going down.
How do you do against Zeldas?
I do really good against Zelda, I think.
You haven't played Sid Zelda, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, with my... are you talking about with my Kirby?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Ooh, dude, Sid, Zelda, Ginger, Kirby matchup.
So, Zelda actually beats Kirby. That's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, Zelda actually beats Kirby harder than Sheik beats Kirby, which is crazy.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
I have some thoughts about. Do you want to talk about Zelda? I have some thoughts about Zelda.
I would love nothing more than to talk about Zelda.
To talk about Zelda. The only thing that I know for sure is that Zelda destroys Donkey Kong.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Why is this?
His recovery is so ass against just kicks.
Uh-huh.
And that's all I have. But I only play Super Mario Sunshine, so I don't have to back any of this up.
Sure.
See, I don't have frame data. I just know by the feel.
Yeah, that feels like it makes sense to me. Because what's Donkey Kong gonna do when he's like being horizontally into Zelda's foot?
Yeah, he's just spinning his arms.
He's spinning
his dumb arms.
You know, I'm trying not to think about it too much and just feel it. And I'm right on the same page with you here.
You know what? Top 15. I looked at your Twitter before we went live, and it says top 15.
Yeah.
Melee player. Do you say top 15 and you're 12th?
Okay.
Where are we at?
So it's a good question. So we haven't had a national ranking or an international ranking for the last 2 years for Melee.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this. There was a global pandemic that happened.
What?
I heard there was a thing.
I heard rumors.
Crazy, right? So
I know, it's nuts.
to have competition in Melee, you usually, at least in the past, had to actually go in person to play against people on old school CRTs, which I know that both of you know, but for anybody that doesn't know that. So when the pandemic hit, we actually got this boost to online. We actually got rollback netcode, which is really, really cool. Allowed us to actually run some national tournaments and stuff. But people don't really feel comfortable enough actually making a ranking out of it, because it does have some differences to like LAN Melee. So when I say I'm top 15, it's sort of like, well, with the LAN results that were happening and also the online results that I was able to like kind of achieve, it just makes sense. Most people would consider me like top 15, top 10 even potentially at this moment. But also the pandemic shut things down, like AMSA from Japan being able to travel, or Leffen from EU being able to travel. And even though we have rollback netcode, we can't play against those people. They're literally all the way across the ocean, right? So like, how do I stack up to all these people that I'm not able to play? Nobody knows. So I just kind of give this guesstimate of about top 15.
I see, that's a really well thought out answer, and I thought you were going to be like, yeah, I say top 15 because I'm 15th.
Oh, no, that'd be funny. I was 39th at one point, and people would be like, yo, you're top 40. I was be like, shut up, I'm top 39. Okay?
So you mentioned AMSA.
Yep.
So we have the ear of like the highest tier Melee player we've had on the podcast before this is Chillin' Dude.
Yep.
And he's like commentator extraordinaire and been around for a while. But we have the ear of Ginger today. You know? And you mentioned AMSA. Is there anybody like, this is just in the weeds, just talking about Melee stuff. Anybody else from Japan that is like that notable?
Wow. Oh, there's gotta be some, right?
It's a random thought, I know. Like, I know Rudolph exists. I don't know how good he is nowadays. I just remember him just being at that one tournament and sitting awkwardly and everybody kind of making fun of it.
He does do that, yeah.
Everyone's got their gamer stance. That's just how it goes.
But I'm just wondering if Ginger, the top 15 Falco, has any insight. More than us, anyway.
Yeah, so actually in Japan, there are people that beat AMSA, which is kind of a weird thing. Because he comes over to the US, he just beats everybody outside of like the top 10 players in the world. Some people think it's an experience thing. Some people think it's like a play style thing about Japan. But there are a few players. You're testing me right now because I actually can't even think of their tags. But, I mean, there's an old school pro that's from there that actually attended a few tournaments kind of in recent times named Gucci, played Falcon, and I think a little bit of Fox, who was very, very good. But I'm almost certain there's a Fox player I can't think of right now who's very good from Japan, and also a Peach player. And both of them are able to take a lot of sets off of AMSA. There's, of course, Rudolph, but Rudolph hasn't attended anything in like 4 years or something like that. It's been a long time.
It was a while ago when he was like in America and going to like the bunch of tournaments in a row. I think it was like Evo and like just that few months he was just around everywhere and everybody was just like, yeah, Rudolph, we're a huge fan. And then he just disappeared.
Yeah, I think it's like a cultural thing in Japan. I think like their work hours just don't lend themselves to people being able to take long trips to America to like play video games. And
that makes sense.
Also, their like gambling laws in Japan means that like any tournaments they run, I don't think they can have like legitimate prize pools.
Really?
So it's really hard for anybody to be like incentivized to practice because what are they going to do?
Well, in like Evo Japan, wasn't the reward for like ultimate first place just a controller?
Yeah, it was like a painted gold controller.
where it's just like up against every other prize pool. It was like, whatever. I can't vamp names. Just Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Just like prize pools that were pretty decent. And then it's just like, ultimate. A controller, pro controller. And
hey, that controller's worth its weight in gold, all right? It's literally gold.
But that's also the Nintendo issue, right?
Oh yeah, it's the fault of like Nintendo. Unlike every other esports or whatever game development company, which will like sponsor their esports, Nintendo's over here like, we're gonna shut them down because why not? It's fun.
Yeah. Yes. So the thing about Nintendo is that they love Ultimate. It's like it's their baby, and they'll support it in their own ways. They don't really add prize pools to many things unless it's like a literal Nintendo event.
Yeah.
But for a lot of the Nintendo events, they run like items on with like, a weird stock amount and like some weird rules. I don't follow the Ultimate scene enough to know if that's changed in recent history, but I know that's how it was for a long time. And they would run online, and their netcode just isn't very good. So they're like playing online matches with items, and so like top players just don't enter that kind of stuff. So even like the Nintendo support we do see for their games is like kind of half-assed, I guess I would say.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
So Ginger.
Yep.
Like, we don't have to talk about Melee the whole time. We just kind of stumbled back into Melee. We were talking about Sunshine for a moment. Trey and I are Sunshine players.
Sure. Really?
We do play the game. That's the only reason you know who we are.
Oh, I knew you as the Zelda player. Sorry. Whoops.
I do play Zelda. But yeah, I like to go back to what we were talking about before, the GBS stream.
Yep.
2 years ago, right?
Yes.
Maybe even 3. I don't remember.
It could have been 3.
I remember I used to be a subscriber. Like I subscribed to you way back in the day, just randomly being like, oh, I like his shit. I subscribed.
Thanks.
And you're just like, oh, hey, Sided Williams. I'm like, yep, that's who I am. And then I just go away. And then later I watched this GBS stream and I'm just like, oh, I love when people learn Sunshine. You know, I love when people just take like the game that I've put so much time into. Oh, they're about to, you know what? Maybe I can have an interaction with the person now. Like this is how we have Chillin' Dude on the podcast at all.
Yep.
And now you're on the podcast. We just kind of weave our way through. And you were so mad. You were so mad at just like everybody in the chat just saying, get a feel for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't add any good thoughts to it.
It's so funny the get a feel for it thing. That roots all the way back to the early days of Sunshine, like 2012. Because remember Hidden Power 13 said?
Yeah.
When I started Sunshine, there were only like 4, maybe 5 tutorials on like all of YouTube. Half of them are from a player named Hidden Power 13, and his Yoshi Skip tutorial, quite literally, it was the old like sidestep, really bad method like no one uses anymore, thank God. But his exact words for the timing of the hover are, you use your gut feeling. And that's all I had. I was like, all right, my gut feeling tells me to time the hover. All right, cool.
Wow.
I still can't get that set up to work.
His sidestep was so dumb. The fact that we have the new Huff setup or Electro, whatever you call it, it's infinitely better. So,
but my question for Ginger,
like
we're going to go into like, this is going to be a podcast. This is going to be like a lengthy, we're only 20 minutes in. Just strap yourself in.
Yes.
You had like a Luminosity gaming thing scheduled tonight that you blew off. You blew it off to do this podcast.
That's what happened. Yep.
Because we're cooler.
So you said you had a question. What's your question for me then at the end of this?
Yeah, I was getting to the question.
Oh, sorry.
Don't rush me. So I was there for the GBS stream. What made you want to pick up like, it's a very basic question. But like for some reason, Melee players have this, like, they're speedrunning. You go like sidestep and go into speedrunning. Armada went to SM64. And there's a bunch of people that play SM64 on the side or Sunshine on the side or just like Silent Wolf with his Donkey Kong Country and whatever. What made you want to start playing Sunshine?
I mean, the obvious answer is the controller, right?
Yeah. I mean, the controller is definitely a big part of it. So here, I'll take you on a little trip down my life. I would love,
please.
Perfect.
Please.
So, you guys know who Sig Lemick is?
Yes.
Awesome.
All too well.
Oh, goodness.
Not like that. All right.
Not like that.
So, it's like 2012 or something, like Twitch, or maybe it was still like Justin TV at the time. Was like becoming a thing, and I was always interested in video games, and like I had just graduated high school. I'm like in the summer. I just started watching Sig Lemick stream all the time, and I was like, yo, this guy's so good at this Mario game. This is insane.
He didn't play Sunshine,
which is obviously Super Mario 64.
Okay.
I know that he didn't play Sunshine, but
All
this
right, just
is how I got into speedrunning. I didn't even know speedrunning was a thing up until I was like, whoa, this is so cool. This guy's just trying to beat this game as fast as he possibly can. This is dope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started thinking, and it was kind of a popular thing on Twitch, at least, you know, relative to other things on Twitch. Like, what are you going to do? Play a game casually? Well, some speedrunners actually have real audiences. Like, Siglemic had hundreds, maybe thousands of viewers at the time.
Thousands. Like, Trey can tell you the numbers. Trey?
Yeah, Siglemic,
what were the numbers?
There were a lot, like, fewer speedrunners that were notable. Like, speedrunning was smaller in, like, 2012, 2013. However, because it wasn't, like, so... I guess saturated and like so widespread. Like the top people would get easily like 10,000 viewers every stream.
Yeah,
which is pretty insane.
Yeah. So here I am looking at this, and like I'm a big fan of Melee. At the time I was grinding a ton, and I was like, oh, like the Melee has some crossover with these speedrunning people. Like I know some of them. This is pretty cool. And like this seems like a real thing that people are interested in on Twitch. And I wanted to be a streamer. So I'm like, oh heck yeah, I'm gonna learn a speedrun. And I looked up a bunch of guides of like what to speedrun and why you would speedrun a game. And everyone's like, it has to be something that you enjoy. Because if you don't like the game, you're literally playing it over and over and over and over again. And I was like,
yeah, it's the basic answer. It's just like, oh, what game should I play? It's just like, don't go go for what's popular. It's just, what do you like?
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
It sounds dumb to say, but it is. That's just how it is.
Yeah. So I started trying to learn speedrunning by playing Paper Mario 64, actually. Which didn't end up being the most exciting speedrun, I don't think.
No.
Did you ever do the Blue House skip?
I did do Blue House skip.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
What's your thought? Have you played TTYD?
So I've played through TTYD as a casual player, and I've watched a lot of the speedrun, not within the last, I would say, like 2 years, but I've watched a lot of it. Mm-hmm. But
cool.
Yeah,
that's like my favorite game ever. So
see, a lot of people like Thousand Year Door more than they like 64, but for me, it's almost like a nostalgia thing.
Right.
Because I'm not even that into RPGs, but dear God, I could probably play both of those games, honestly, so many times through. So I'm like, oh, this is the perfect speedrunning game. But so I came across playing Paper Mario 64. I was like, well, this isn't that like movement intensive, and it's kind of based around an RPG, which isn't that cool. Like, sure, I love the game. I could play through it a ton, but it's also like on this clunky N64 controller. I don't really love it. So I ended up stopping playing that game, and then I actually tried to play Super Mario 64. Which it just seemed like that was the one that all the Melee players played, and everybody loved it, and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And
everybody has it from their childhood. Everybody, it's like, oh, second most popular speed game. Why wouldn't it be good for me?
Exactly.
Wait, what's the most popular?
Ocarina of Time.
Is it?
I
always thought 64 was beating Ocarina of Time.
I thought Ocarina of Time beat it, but I could be wrong.
It's a close one. Anyway, continue.
I know they're both huge. I actually thought that Super Mario 64 was bigger too. But so I learned like the first half of 16 Star, which is like nothing impressive. You just do some like random bullshit. And I was like, this just feels stupid. It literally feels like, okay, boot into level, turn camera twice, run forward, long jump, turn camera one time to the left, then jump forward, do this. And I was like, this just feels too rigid. And for its time as an N64 game, it was very fluid. But it just didn't satisfy me like I wanted it to.
I hope that you're like eventually getting to the fact that you're going to talk shit about Sunshine. Like you're talking shit about SM64 and then you go like, oh, Super Mario Sunshine? Yeah, similar kind of shit. Didn't really like it.
Yeah, Sunshine, it didn't have the long jump, so it's also not that good.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So we get to this point where, goodness gracious, it's so sad that I've forgotten his tag. Bald guy plays Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, Bouncy Boy.
Bouncy Boy. Oh, Bouncy Boy. I was going to say Schmidt.
Wait, I don't even know what Schmidt looks like.
Well, he streams with webcam.
He's okay. I guess I'm a bad person. Huh? Sorry, Schmidt.
So it gets to this point where I don't really like Super Mario 64 either. And I'm like, okay, maybe speedrunning is just not for me. But KJH, another professional Melee player, my biggest practice partner, just constantly turns on Bouncy Boy streams. I'm like, all right, tell me about this guy. Like, what's going on in the speedrun?
Oh, now that you mentioned that, KJH was always in Bouncy Boy's chat. That's right.
Like, constantly.
I just remembered that.
every time I was hanging out with Clinty, we'd be out to eat at a restaurant or something. Somehow Bouncy Boy's stream was on. And Bouncy Boy was like maybe one of the best in the world at the time, if not like...
Oh, yeah.
He was the best for a period, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like in that time period, and then he kind of like stopped playing because he wasn't enjoying it as much or something, kind of wanted to make content or something. I don't know what his whole thing was.
I think he just went and got a job. I think that's literally it. Yeah. I don't think he made content.
Sure, good for him.
Yeah.
But then Dide started getting good, and he's like this little kid, and Kalindi starts watching Dide stream literally every single day, every single night. Kalindi's like, oh, did you see this sick clip of Dide doing this bullshit? I'm like, no, I didn't see that. But so it just starts to be this thing that we talk about, we watch together. And Kalindi and I started thinking, well, if we learn the speedrun, we could just like race each other all the time. That would be cool content. And like, we'll have this competitive spirit to like go back and forth. So I'm like, well, I love Super Mario Sunshine. That was a really fun game for me to play as a kid. Yeah. It could probably be a game that I could see myself playing long term as a speedrunning game. So Kalindi learns the speedrun, and I'm like too busy with Melee, and I was like working at Subway at the time or some bullshit. Mm-hmm. He ends up like completing his first run. Took him over 2 hours or something. Good for him.
Yeah,
that's good for a first run.
Yeah, it was not terrible.
I'm glad. I'm hoping he hears that, and he's like, "Yeah, it's not terrible."
So then I end up learning the speedrun, but he ends up quitting it entirely. So like we just missed each other on this path of like us grinding together and doing races and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, come on. What happened to the competitive spirit? Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on. It didn't inspire him to pick up the game again? No?
No, he still watches me run it when I do. But he's busy with his own stuff and blah, blah, blah. There's too much going on there. But
come on, man.
I ended up learning the run because I wanted to play with Kalindi, and then I realized, wait a second, this is actually just really, really fun. Like, I could do this regardless. And so that's kind of how I got into it. But I will say the controller was a big deal, and the fluidity of the game was awesome. I felt like it was this thing that was kind of similar to Super Mario 64, but at the same time, like you have this camera that isn't so rigid. It's not like,
oh, thank God, the camera.
Press C stick twice to like tap it to the left so that you center it this way. It's like, okay, you literally have to like, use your thumb to press a button and then quickly flick down to the C stick and press it for just the right amount of time, and then line it back up and start pressing more buttons with your thumb. And it's like, oh, this is interactive and interesting and fluid, and there are different directions that I have to worry about. And there's, all these different mechanics that you can use FLUDD for. And it's like, whoa, this is way more deep to me than Super Mario 64 is. Obviously, I think Super Mario 64 is in this insane refinement period where everybody's just getting incredibly good at really tiny, minute details of the game, which is great. But Super Mario Sunshine just hits different for me. So I fell in love with it.
Cool.
I'm glad you did, because now you're here. But so with Sunshine, there was a thought that I had, and then I started thinking about Kalindi playing the game and everything.
I ramble a lot, by the way. So if you ever feel like cutting me off, just go for it.
Oh, we did. We already did that. I feel like we already did that. But yeah, you learned the game. You did GBS. How do you feel about it? Like now? Like after as long as you've been playing it.
Mm-hmm. I feel great about the game. I don't know if you guys know this. I actually did a run 2 days ago or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, yes. That's actually more recent than me.
That's funny
because I started streaming again, but I get my schedule's good for the next couple of weeks. But like I don't in general stream that frequently, so I'm kind of like that.
I hear you.
Because this is the thought that I had, and I'm glad that I stumbled back on it. Just like a little bit of a break, everybody clear your head.
Yes,
just independent thought time. Not even independent thought time. I just want you guys to clear your head to welcome in my thought.
It's completely blank.
I want everybody to tell me how close, because we're Nintendo GameCube runners or Melee players, whatever.
Nintendo Wii, thank you very much.
Yes. How close from you sitting where you are is your GameCube controller?
Like
to my hands or to my just any part of my body?
Any part of your body.
It's like
I would say like in 3D space.
Yes.
About 1 meter away from my hands.
Ginger?
Mine's like 9 inches away from my foot.
See, mine would be closer to my foot, but I'm sitting cross-legged for some reason right now.
Oh,
on your
you go.
chair?
Yeah. I don't know why.
So
I just
weird.
I contort my legs in weird ways on my chair for some reason.
I wouldn't have ever imagined that for you.
I think my legs are going to give out when I'm 40 or something, I swear.
Yeah, I just sit like a regular human being, but mine's 3 feet away. I always like that thought where it's just like, oh, you know the controller that you use? You're at your setup right now. How close is it to you, even though you're doing nothing related to it? Like, you might be talking about it, but you're not using it at all. How close is it to you? Like, could you go right now? You know?
Yeah,
I'll just start
I can
playing
reach
whatever.
it right now easily.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because like I have it attached to my Wii, which is in a little shelf under my desk, which is right here. Also, I got to point out the craziest thing about that whole experience, that whole thought experiment, was that I said meters and Sid said feet, and he's the Canadian, I'm the American. So what's going on there?
That is weird.
The old switcheroo just happened.
Another thing I wanted to go into, like we have our basic questions tray for Ginger.
Wait, do we?
Like we
Oh, yeah.
we have like
The other basic ones.
we can do the basic ones. Like you could do the basic ones. We have the earliest gaming memory because we're all gamers here, right? We have like in our heads, we have the memory, our first memory of anything ever.
Yep.
Like I think I remember like waking up in the crib at some point. But like I don't know when that was, you know, but I just remember the sight of it.
Yeah.
But we're all gamers, so we have a first gaming memory. Like my first gaming memory is like playing Super Mario Brothers on just a CRT when I'm 4 or 3 or something. Like something
Mine
really young.
was playing Mario All-Stars at one of my relatives' houses.
For the SNES.
For the SNES, yeah.
Wow.
So Ginger,
Yep.
being the gamer that you are, you are definitely what I would consider a gamer.
Yep.
What is your first gaming memory?
So my first gaming memory, man, I grew up in like a crazy gaming household. We had almost every single system that you possibly could have. Sometimes we had two of them. Yeah, it was wild. Because the thing is, I had a brother that was 12 years older than me, right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so he's got everything.
That's broken.
You know
It's
what's
so
super broken? See, I'm also the younger of the two siblings in my household. But like, I guess the wider the age gap, the more broken it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of like stuff you get. That's sick, man.
Yeah, so I must have so many crazy, obscure, really old memories about gaming. But probably my first one, like this deep, weird, obscure memory is on my old computer. We had this Jurassic Park game.
Interesting.
And there's like this weird Jurassic Park game, and there was this fence that we weren't allowed past. Like I was sitting on my dad's lap. I wasn't like tall enough to sit on a chair and be at a computer. Sitting on my dad's lap, and there's this like fence that you can't go past until you unlock like a certain part of the game, and we had to figure out like where we had to go in order to unlock it. I don't even know if we ever did. But there was that game, which is so obscure. And then you guys know the what's it called? The game with the two little flappers at the bottom and you flip them up?
Pinball?
Pinball, yeah.
Oh wait.
I was thinking like pilot wings. I was thinking of like the end of a plane.
No.
Flappers, okay.
Yeah, flappers.
So wait, so you're about to say 3D Space Pinball, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, let's go.
Trey and I were talking about that the other week.
Everybody who had Windows XP has played that game at some point.
Yes.
My mom was obsessed with that game.
Yeah, it was so good. So I played that a ton, and then so last gaming memory that might be my first one is I also played
Spider Solitaire.
No, I actually never learned how to play solitaire. But I played Mario Kart. I would sit on my mom's lap and she would play for me, and I would be playing Mario Kart. And that's
The
one of my
original
earliest
SNES
memories
one?
too.
Super Mario Kart?
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
What do you think of Super Mario Kart like today?
Does it hold up?
I haven't touched it in forever. I have no idea.
I bought it for the Wii years ago, and I played it a little bit. I don't think it quite holds up.
Really?
It just feels it's 2.5 dimensions.
Whenever I like look at it, it always looks like the turning feels awkward.
It's just a SNES. It's just a SNES trying to be like, oh, we're doing 3D, and it's just like I don't think this quite gets there.
Yeah, the SNES was like really pushing 3D towards the end of its life cycle with a like Mode 7, I think they called it, where they would like put it into games. Even like Chrono Trigger would have a Mode 7 segments where it's like, whoa, look, it's like 3D.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're like, oh, we can make a whole kart racer based on Mario with this technology. And it worked, especially for the time, but obviously it doesn't hold up compared to like actual 3D now.
So that's the earliest gaming memory. That's the next thing that I have for you, like in our DMs before the podcast. Like we were just kind of shooting the shit. It's just like, oh, you don't really have to prepare anything. You could have prepared something.
Yeah, true.
You could have done whatever you wanted. We usually do the preparations to some extent. I made a little list of things to talk to Ginger about. You know, Trey is here.
I exist.
Yeah. But you said I often reminisce about the glory days of gaming. And I read that and I went, what, like, to you, what are the glory days of gaming?
That's a fantastic question.
The glory days of gaming were when I won Low Tide City 2 weeks ago. I remember like it was yesterday.
So that's a good question. So to me, I don't know. I think it's different for everybody, right? It's just
I think so too. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, it's whatever period hit you the hardest. So
wait, you're gonna say Call of Duty, right?
No. So I actually got to Call of Duty. I think that was exiting the glory days of gaming. I played Modern Warfare 3, which I know people did not like as much as Modern Warfare 2, which some people...
It was bad.
Yeah. So I assumed that people that played Modern Warfare 2 would probably be like, oh yeah, these are the glory days. Can't we just go back to Modern Warfare 2? But I never had that experience.
Black Ops. Oh, so good.
I only went over to my house to play Black Ops. I didn't play it that much. But World of Warcraft, Wrath of the Lich King, and Burning Crusade were two of my favorite expansions ever, and I played them a ton, and I thought it was incredible. I think the MMO boom was insane. I think the impact that World of Warcraft had was crazy, and I loved that time. And also, at the same time, there's tons of amazing games coming out. Like, the Wii is still producing games. Oh, man, when was this, actually?
This is 2010? 2009?
Goodness gracious. I'm trying to remember.
It's got to be around there.
Because I was in middle school at the time, and I'm thinking I was still playing Wii games when that was happening.
It's got to be 2008, 2009 probably, yeah.
Yeah, something like
so
that, I think.
Brawl had probably just came out, so Melee's dead at the point.
Yeah.
But I think that there were so many good games that came out in that time period that I just loved playing, like even casually. I think that Mario Kart Wii was like one of my favorite racing games that I ever got to play.
See, Mario Kart Wii never hit that hard for me. I remember buying it. I played it. I played the shit out of Double Dash.
I love Double Dash too.
Absolutely the death. I would play it with a buddy of mine, and we'd do like Grand Prix every week.
Yep.
But when Wii came out, I wasn't as close to that friend, and like I played it for like the weekend. I remember leaving my Wii steering wheel at my girlfriend's house. We broke up, and I never got it back or ever cared to.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was just like, like nowadays it's just like, why would you care about getting a Wii steering wheel back? But like casual me, I'm like, I can't play this game without the steering wheel. So yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned, like, you and KO, I think both have like Mario Kart Wii is like, oh, this great game.
I actually won a tournament for Mario Kart Wii before.
Really?
Yeah, it's been forever. I mean, the game's like busted now, probably.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like, yeah, I won a tournament for it, which was at the same time I went to a Melee tournament. So I don't know. I was still playing Melee during that time, and then there's like World of Warcraft happening. My brother would make fun of me for playing World of Warcraft because I wasn't practicing Melee enough, and I'm literally like an 11-year-old kid. He's like, "You gotta go to the grind. You keep practicing Melee."
Wow, what a weird universe you live in. Jesus. You're being made fun of for not playing a different game.
Yeah, no, it was crazy.
People were already instilling the hustle mindset into this 11-year-old. That's crazy. That's so crazy.
I was seen as like a prodigy at the time. Sorry. Yep. What's up?
Oh, okay. Why were you perceived as a prodigy?
So,
like what?
Oh man.
Oh, okay.
We're going.
Did you just
back,
like
aren't we?
pick up Melee super fast or what?
Yeah. So here, I'll tell you this story again.
You're born in 1995. All right. You're born with a controller in your hand.
Essentially.
You know?
Yep.
It's always within 3 feet of your hand. By the way.
Yeah.
No matter where you are.
There's actually 2 controllers that are that close to me. One of them's my Sunshine controller, one is the Melee controller.
Actually, funnily enough, I'm the same way because I have the one for like net play and stuff right here.
Yeah.
I haven't used it in a while, but it's there.
I just use the same for both.
Wow, that's sacrilege.
I'm sorry.
You gotta keep switching the thing out then. It's kind of annoying.
You're a gaming prodigy.
So, gaming prodigy, like I said, I was surrounded by video games because I had an older brother. I'm making the story quick for you because it could go a very long time.
You can do whatever you like.
I want you to feel comfortable interrupting.
For some reason, for a second, I thought you were going to say, I'm making the story up, by the way.
By the way, all of this, fiction.
Okay. So, when I was around maybe 6 or 7 years old, probably about 7, Melee was like a really big thing, huge game, everybody loved it. I actually got it for Christmas along with my first CRT. And my brother and I and our little crew, we thought we were the best players in the world because we're delusional. And so we had a crew named the Invincibles, which is lame.
Shout outs to Vince from Invincible.
From Invincible. That isn't actually his name.
It's not actually his name, no.
It's like Neil, or Mark. It's Mark. Well, okay, but so you had this gaming crew.
Yep. Had the gaming crew.
Including your 12, or was it based on the movie, The Name Invincibles?
No, so it was actually, it was about The Incredibles, I think, had come out. And
I was just thinking of that,
yeah, so we came up with Invincibles. Everybody had crews back in the day. I don't know if you ever talked to Chillin about his old crew.
I mean, I've seen the documentary.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the
When we have him on the third time, we'll ask him about his crew.
Oh, he could tell you all about the crew, H2IO.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had a crew, Invincibles. We literally made flyers, and we're like, "Hey, call our home phone number, and we'll like come over. We'll come over to your house and like whoop your ass at Melee." And we did that all the time, and we had like a hierarchy of skill levels, and I was like the second best in the crew. So, like, if you couldn't beat our worst player, then you don't deserve to play the next guy. We would literally just leave your house. So I was quite good for like a literal casual. We all fucking suck in reality, right?
Yeah.
And then my brother goes to a real tournament in Chicago. At this point, I'm 8 years old. And he gets demolished. He's the best person on our crew. Gets demolished. Doesn't beat a single person in a single friendly.
Damn.
Comes back, and two pros actually have to like come through our town to get back home. So he's like, "Hey, would you stop over at our house, like teach us things about the game?" So I'm 8 years old, and they teach us how to L cancel, how to wave dash. I learned how to pillar combo as Falco. I learned how to short hop laser, double laser from the ledge. They show me a bunch of videos to watch, and it's incredible. I just like start popping off. My brother and I just win every like local tournament in our area. We still like, tell people that we can beat them. So we go over to like college dorms, and I'm literally an 8-year-old kid beating every single college kid I've ever played. And we get like half decent at the game. And so, yeah, I was this prodigy because I kind of learned all this stuff pretty early on. And my brother and I would play all the way until the kill cap in Melee every single day, which was, I think it's 256 kills. We played to that kill cap and then we'd stop, which was like 3 hours of gaming or something.
Wait, what is this kill cap?
You mean like the KOs displayed like on your name thing?
Yeah, when you get kills in Melee, after the game it adds a little star.
The stars.
Under your character. And it literally caps out at a certain point. It's either 255 or 256.
I never knew it capped either. I'm not hardcore enough.
Yeah. And we do that every day. And so like we're just winning tournaments. There's small, stupid local tournaments or whatever in the west side of Michigan, which is literally nothing. But we fancy ourselves pretty good, and I grind it all the time. So
it was just Melee related prodiginess.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't
not to minimalize it.
No, I mean like the thing is, I was decent at other games, right? Like if I picked up Mario Kart, I'd be good at it or whatever. If I picked up some other random game, I'd be like better than every other 9-year-old. But it's just mostly because I had more experience playing games or like holding the controller than other people,
You know what? Nowadays, I feel like if I picked up any other game, I would be better than the average 9-year-old.
Yeah, right?
So if you really think about it, we're all gaming prodigies.
True.
One thing I started thinking about while you were talking about that with so Melee you started at a very young age.
Absolutely, yep.
And you just keep playing it and getting better and better, and now you're top 15 like we went into before.
Yep.
Motivation and the love of the game
sure
is what I'm going to. Because I remember when, like, I've been, our connection to you is KO, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like we all play Super Mario Sunshine to some extent, and I've been in your chat and been like, "Oh, get a feel for it," and then you get mad at me. That's happened, but like our real, like the only reason we've been in a call before or had any conversation whatsoever is because KO is your friend, and he's become my friend.
Yeah,
and
hate that guy.
I only want to say bad things about KO, but it can't always work that way. But so he quit Melee, and it was over motivation and like his love of the game. Where it's just like he would talk to you and Zane and other players, and they still loved the game.
Yep.
Like, can you talk about, like, I don't know what question to ask with that, but like, can you talk about that? Like, still loving the game that you play?
Or I guess like how to phrase it would be, over the years, starting from being 8 to now, like,
yeah,
I'm sure there were like different eras of like, oh, these years I was sort of doing this around this time. But like along those eras, how would you, like on a scale of 1 to 10, like how much did you really say I love the game? Because like for me in Sunshine, like my peak of loving the game was like 2014, maybe 2015. And then as the years go on, it like sort of gradually declines a little bit. Like I still love it, but like not nearly as much as like a few years ago. So how would you like compare your true like genuine passion for the game now versus like back then?
That's I love this question. So in all honesty, really honestly, since I played the game for the first time when it was Christmas, I have pictures of me, by the way. Maybe I'll send them to you. You can display them on the screen.
Hype.
No, it'd be amazing. So when I was playing Melee, when I was literally 6 years old, playing on Christmas, it was like a 10 because we played the original Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64, and we loved that game too. I was only 4 at the time, but now I'm 6, and I'm loving this new gaming system. The graphics.
Now
are
you're
amazing.
a veteran. You're a veteran, 6 years old.
Exactly.
We were 4. We were idiots.
Now that I'm
6 years
6,
old.
I've seen some shit. All right,
I'm a man.
I'll tell you something.
Yep. So my love of the game was a 10, right? I couldn't have been happier playing Melee. And, growing up, going to middle school, continuing to play the game literally every single day, I would be grounded. My mom would ground me. I couldn't, like, watch TV for any of the days, but my brother, like, begged her, like, please let him keep playing Melee. Like, we gotta keep playing Melee. He's so good at this game, blah, blah, blah.
Dude, your brother was, like, so supportive of you.
Dude.
God damn.
It was insane. Yeah, he's still supportive to this day. But, my love of the game was constantly a 10. I came back to the game. The game died when Brawl came out. There's a whole thing about that. And around 2013, I started playing again. And I went to my first tournament again, in over like 5 years or something I hadn't played. Immediately a 10. And still, from 2013 up until, 2021, it is still a 10. I love the game so much.
What keeps it so fresh for you?
Okay, so I was wondering if you wanted me to go into that. So...
You're here.
So yeah. So there's about 1 billion reasons, but here are a couple. So Melee is this game where, the announcer says go at the very start, and there's 8 minutes on the clock, and there's only 26 characters. So one might think, how many unique interactions can you really go through, right? Like, isn't the game getting solved at some point? Don't you kind of just play for this one thing, and then that kind of just works out in this way, and you kind of just follow the logic tree down this place, and then the game ends? But I would say that at least after the first 5 seconds of any game, there are no two games that have been exactly the same.
Yeah.
The game allows for such minute differences to affect important situations that you have to be constantly vigilant. You have to have perfect control of your character, and there's always something to improve at. So the fact of the matter is that you could play a matchup. Literally, I've played probably 20,000 hours at least of Melee in my lifetime, but every single match is a new experience to some degree. And that is just insane. It's quite literally like the opposite of speedrunning in some ways, right? Where you're trying to perfect one motion and like you're going to start this level and you know the exact strategy that you're going to do to complete the level. And that's like what you're going for. But this is like, well, how do I treat this unique scenario? And how can I do that to the best of my ability? And how can I do that in real time, knowing that my opponent's also trying to outsmart me?
And with speedrunning, you're preparing for a strict like A to B, but in Melee or any fighting game, you're just trying to you're preparing for improvisation.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're trying to prepare for any improvised situation that you'll encounter in speedrunning. If you encounter an improvised situation, you've screwed up.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But being able to improvise in speedrunning can be a really important skill, right? Like, I'm sure both of you, if I like fucking bonk or something, I'm going to be completely lost. I'm like, oh God, I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to go anymore. Like, what's the movement I'm supposed to do? But like,
oh yeah, that's why you got to practice your recovery from if you bonk or something. Yeah. It's also important.
Yeah,
sure.
Essentially, Melee is just this constantly changing thing that has a million billion different unique situations. And since it's a player versus player game, there's always going to be some level of like trying to outsmart your opponent or trying to outthink them or outpace them. And that is just constantly satisfying and enjoyable to me.
Yeah, there's that level of like, obviously, like you could play any person, and depending on who you play, it's always going to be different. But like the level of mind games between relatively similarly skilled people, you could sort of like condition them to think you're going to do a certain thing and then switch it up randomly at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always like there's so many possible options for not just mechanically in the game, but trying to make your opponent like making them always like second guess what they're going to do and stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
Multi-tournament conditioning. To bring back an old
right,
meme.
Because you're saying, is that like across like 2 tournaments, you'll sort of play a certain way against someone just so that the third tournament, you know, they don't see it coming.
Yep.
Just like, oh, I got him by the, like, yeah, Ginger.
I think it's an old Hugs meme. It's funny that you know about that, because I think he's like, yeah, I lost to SFAT in this tournament, but it was just for the multi-tournament conditioning.
Oh,
you know?
See, I heard that. I forgot who actually invented that.
Yeah, it was Hugs.
That's pretty funny.
It is funny. That's really a cool way to like. I randomly get spurts of motivation for Sunshine, where it's like, oh, I really enjoy the like today. I'm really motivated to actually play again, like even this evening, because I was doing some grinding earlier and got the Serena 100s world record.
Hell yeah!
Back from I don't know however long ago.
Oh, and while we're talking about ILs, I also something funny happened last night. I got the Gelato Hidden world record IL, but. It turns out, because I wasn't paying attention to what was going on, I was playing on the third worst, or only the third best episode to do it in. Yeah. Because literally people were playing it. I saw like, oh, there's some activity in Gelato Hidden, guess I'll try it out. I was doing it in episode 1, which is worse than 7 and even worse than 6. So I was giving myself a 0.5 disadvantage, and then I was like, oh yeah, I got the record, guys. And they're like, dude, why didn't you do it in 6? I was like, ah, shit.
Whoa, that's
so
crazy.
Now it's like already like 0.5 faster. Shout out to Found Your Gun. But yeah, Sunshine ILs are fun. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sunshine has its own niche of like ILs, like we were talking about with Rico 4 and stuff. But I'm like recently getting some motivation to play Sunshine, but like like Trey was saying, just it randomly just leaves. And like that's why KO retired, because he talked to you guys and you guys said, "Oh, I just love the game," and he's just like, "Oh, I don't."
See, I'm the same way where I do have those like spurt moments of, yes, I really want to play this game, I want to stream it. But I find that those motivation spurts are more fleeting now for some reason. I'll be like, maybe I'll just, play some casual thing. I don't know.
So
go for it.
Yeah, I actually want to ask you guys a question, because this, I think about it all the time, because I have not played nearly as much Super Mario Sunshine as you guys have. And I still love any %. Love it to death. I think it's such a sick speedrun for a million different reasons. But I hear a lot of runners shit talk any %. Even while they're playing any %.
I'm sort of, I've actually watched a lot of Tove content the past few months. I love his videos for some reason. Even though, so many Melee players make content like he does. But he has these interesting takes on things, or tier list, or meme creations, what have you. There's sort of a galaxy brain expansion of anywhere from hating to loving any %. Like, and like the galaxy brain is like how like just starting out fresh, like playing the game for the first time versus play the game for 8 years like me and Sid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Galaxy Brain, it starts out like, oh, I love any percent. I just started playing the game. This is sick. And then eventually you get to a point where like, okay, I want to mix it up a little bit. I want to play these new shines. Any percent's kind of lame. I want to play 120 shines, 96 shines.
Yep.
And then it's sort of, I don't have like a discrete thing because I made this up right now. But as you gain experience in Sunshine, you sort of flip-flop to where eventually it's like Omega Galaxy Brain to love any percent again. And then it's even more like beyond that to hate it again. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's sort of like that. So
That's interesting. So a specific question for you guys is how much does the RNG affect how much you enjoy certain like Sunshine runs or levels?
Okay, I'm going to be honest. So the RNG, obviously, it's annoying in the moment when you're pacing pretty hard and then it ruins the whole run.
Yep.
But I think that if there was slightly less RNG, it'd be like the perfect amount for Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For like, let's say, because there's 4 big RNG sections, if there were like maybe 3 of them and maybe they weren't as egregious, it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like games, they have to have that bit of randomness to where it's not just purely based on objective, just like perfect execution, like the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
There's sort of like on top of the execution, you have to get it sort of like, like a gambling addict or something. It's like, oh, I got to get it on the run that has good luck and then not choke it.
Yeah.
I feel like that adds like a whole new layer of skill to it.
Also, I think that if you do get bad RNG and it like part of the viewer, like I feel like I've watched runs where I'm just like, can he like recover from this?
Yeah.
Or can they recover from this terrible RNG that he got?
Yeah, and also that's the thing is if you get bad RNG one time and then you recover the run, if that's your PB, you can look forward to I have free time save here because of luck. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just hype in general.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your specific question?
I was just wondering, because a concern of mine is that I love any percent. I really want to improve my time.
I think I know what you're going to ask, but go ahead.
And it's like, I'm just terrified that I will reach a day where I'm just like, dude, this RNG is so fucking dumb. Why do I play this game where I practice a ton and like a lot of these runs just end up not mattering? So my specific question was like, how much does the RNG affect how much you enjoy the run?
For any percent, see, I'm a terrible person. Like Trey is way better to ask for any percent because I have not actively played any percent.
You play any percent like once every 2 months.
I do play it as just like, and then people join and go like, oh, you're playing any percent. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna improve my time, and then 3 days later, I'm not playing any percent anymore.
So to be more specific to Sid, then,
sure.
So
96 shines.
Was the RNG a part of the reason why you stopped doing any percent and started wanting to do other things, or was it just that you enjoyed different pieces of content within Super Mario Sunshine more?
See, to like bring it to me specifically, I love 100 coin shines.
Okay.
It's, what I was just talking about, I got the Serena 100s world record today.
Yep.
Earlier today, I played 3 hours. Like I have my quota of gamerdom.
Mm-hmm.
In China, I wouldn't be able to play anymore today. I'm done.
That's your 3 hours for the week in China.
Yeah,
if you're below 18.
It's over. But yeah, so I did that, and I just love the niche of 100 coin shines, and and it developed from starting to play 96 shines in 2016, 2015, like somewhere around there.
Was it around the time we played Brohood, or like before that?
Way before that.
Okay, so yeah, 2015 probably.
But to succinctly answer your question, I just like the first half of 96 shines is any percent, and I don't like it. I like it enough. Like if I improve a time, like if I get a really good Serena 2 momentum spin off of the gear, I'm like sick. And just like the end of Serena 4, like there are satisfying moments of any percent, but really when I get to the second half, I'm like, good. Now I can start having
finally have fun.
Yeah, now I can start playing the good stuff.
I was the exact same way during sort of towards the latter half of my 120 grinding, because as the years went on, the route became more like any percent first half, other stuff second half.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, before we knew any better, before we knew about the taking event cutscenes into account, it was a lot more like, do this world all in one take. Like, get all 11 shines, all 30 blue coins in one sitting. But then now it became like, just do 20% stuff, get Corona, and then there's no more event cutscenes, which actually saves time. So
yeah.
That's interesting.
I was the same way, where it's like, man, the first half of 120 is so lame. It's just like any percent, then you throw in some blue coins. I just want to get to the second half.
Yeah,
but I feel like I feel like now, if I still played 120, I'd feel a little bit differently about it, possibly.
Yeah,
because again, like I'm getting more galaxy brained on any percent.
It's just like the time. It's just that after 2 years of any percent and just doing any percent, like I think nowadays I would be able to just kind of mix it up, just like, oh, do any percent this day, do all Plaza Blues the next day, or like there are like meme categories that you can do in True All 100s, 96 Shines. There's a bunch of categories in Super Mario Sunshine that you can do, but I just committed for 2014, 2015, and part of 2016. Pretty much all of my time with the game was any percent. And I know that doesn't sound like like you're talking about Melee from 8 years old to now.
Yep.
And it's just like, it doesn't, to be fair to you, like, sure, every scenario is different. Like, every game is going to end up being different, but like, you're playing Melee.
Yeah. Absolutely. And playing the same character all throughout too. Yeah.
You were Falco since you were 8?
Yeah, I dual mained Falco and Ganon, but then I just switched to only Falco. But yes.
Cool.
But yeah, you're playing, like, if you got sick of it, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with any percent, it's the same kind of deal. It was just, and I just kind of like left there, and I just realized that I had this. Like, I had this passion that nobody else did, where it's just like, oh, I'm willing to grind these other levels that nobody else wants to, and like try to get the world record and stuff. Like, I've talked about it a bunch of times on stream or whatever regarding, like, I think my time is better spent playing categories that people don't like to play because I like to play them. Like, if I committed 3 weeks to any percent, like, sure, I could improve my like 39th time to 20th, like. Sure, great. But I could dedicate all that time to 96 Shines and get world record, or dedicate it to ILs that nobody wants to play and get world record. So it's just like, in my mind, I'm just like, my time is better spent with other things that I enjoy more.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wait, do you enjoy it more, or it's just like the allure of world record?
I enjoy, like,
or a combination of both.
A combination of both.
That's fair.
I just enjoy, like I was doing my Serena 100s to talk about me more. I was doing my Serena 100s. I love hearing
about you.
Same.
That warms my heart, Ginger. When I was doing the stream earlier, Found Your Gun, who's like really good at ILs and a moderator of Super Mario Sunshine, he was in the chat and he said, like, you're really good at 100s. And it's just like, sure, it's a simple thing to say, but me reading that, I'm just like, yeah. That feels really nice to be appreciated for, like, my niche that I'm good at within the game, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. And that's my answer to that.
I love it. One thing I want to say, well, okay, first of all, how dare you bring up the momentum spin jump on Serena 2 secret, okay? How dare you? Okay.
Wait, why?
Yeah, obviously it's an instant momentum spin jump. Have you even watched my video? God.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Some people.
Yeah, true. So, wait, do you not know? I thought you brought it up specifically to spite me.
Maybe I did. Tell me why, and I'll confirm or deny.
I always go for it every single run, ever since the dawn of time. I don't even know how to do the slow strat. I have no idea. In my PB,
just ride the gear.
I don't know how,
you just
bro.
Don't do it.
You just ride the gear.
I get over to the sand, and it's like falling, and I'm jumping, and the shit's just weird. I don't know.
You gotta jump faster.
I guess so. But my current PB, which is a 129 like 17 or something, by the way. Thank you.
Sub 130, let's go.
Sub 130 on emulator. Anyway, I died twice there. I have a whole minute and 30 seconds of time save on Serena 2 because I died twice missing that spin jump.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought you brought it up for me.
You know what Twitch chat says? Time save for next run.
That's a good point.
See, that's why every time I watch so Ginger, to bring it to you and Super Mario Sunshine, like, we can talk about Melee again, we can do whatever. With you and Super Mario Sunshine, I'm always, whenever you play Sunshine and I am aware of it and I am in your chat, I always want you to continue the run because you're just like behind by 20 seconds or whatever early on, and you're just like, man, this run sucks.
Yep.
You know. And the fact that you're talking about the fact that you're talking about having a minute and a half of time save in Serena 2 is just more fodder for my cannon.
Yes.
You know
what's funny about this is when Colin was first learning the game, maybe not even first learning, but he was really starting to get into it. We would talk and he would be like, yeah, I'm just like completing a lot of runs. I'm not really getting like PBs, but I'm like completing a lot of runs. And I was like, why the hell would you do that? Why wouldn't you just go like practice the things that you're bad at and then get a better time? He's like, oh, well, like my friend Sid said, it's like real good to complete runs. I was like, that sounds dumb to me.
I mean, it's true, but also practice is even more important, to be honest.
I think they're both important in their own ways. I've come to realize that, but yeah.
I'm the no reset guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I try to, like, back in the day, I used to do no resets. I feel like it just gets you more comfortable. Like, I put out a tweet at some point. I referenced this tweet. It didn't get, like, a shit ton of likes or anything like that, but it was my thought at the time. And it was just, if you can complete a bad run, you can complete any run.
That's deep.
And so like, this week I had a run that was 11 minutes off of my PB. And I finished it. And it was terrible. It felt like shit. I felt terrible after it was done. I was in a funk for the rest of the day. But I finished the run. And if I'm on like a better pace run, I can like try to... You just get more comfortable with it. And that's I feel like that's a good way to be about it.
Yeah, I like that. And also, you're super right. I will end a bunch of runs because I'm like plus 50 going into, Pianta, or not Pianta, fucking Pinna. I'll be like plus 50 going into Pinna. And I'll be like, you know what? This run's fucking dead. Whatever. I'll just end it. But I really do. The latter half of my run has minutes of time save in it. It's like, why don't I just beat this? And then, then that's just easy time save in the first half of the run. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done, though. Something about those red numbers just gets to you.
Oh, God, they really do. They really do get to you.
Can you... Okay, we're going to do a thought experiment. We're talking about sunshine. We all love sunshine.
My controller's a meter away from my hand. Still.
I'm not doing for all of us. Maybe Trey, you have some insight into this.
All of us, not just Ginger. Okay.
Wow.
This is a Ginger thought experiment.
Okay.
Your speedrun mentality versus competitive gaming or competitive fighting game mentality.
Mm-hmm. You just want to know about it, or you have a specific question about it?
Let me try to think of it.
I think I know where Sid's going. This is actually a really good question if he executes the question.
Go for it. If you can execute this question, then I'll give the floor.
If he hits the momentum spin on this question.
I need to instantly hit the momentum spin. Oh, man. All right, so... How would you... I don't know.
Okay. We're introing the podcast.
All right. Take two. Okay. So your mentality when playing a competitive fighting game such as Melee or Guilty Gear or Nickelodeon All-Stars, which... Have you played that, by the way?
It looks awful to me. Yeah.
All right. I didn't buy it either, so...
Wait, okay. But this is a better question. Have you bought it?
No, of course not.
Oh, okay.
Smart man.
All right.
Sorry, there are people out there that love the game, and I hope they're having fun.
Okay. You can play as SpongeBob, I don't know if you know this.
I've heard the lore.
The SpongeBob SquarePants is in that game.
Ren and Stimpy? You're not a Ren and Stimpy
I
fan?
love Ren and Stimpy. I really do.
All right. So how do you compare the thoughts that go through your brain when you're in a serious Melee match or like a Melee tournament versus doing a speedrun stream? Do you think the mentalities of like, stealing yourself, like being in the moment, focusing, are they similar between competing with someone versus just speedrunning? Or is there like a big variance there somehow?
But for Ginger answers, that is a great way of looking at it, Trey. Thank you.
I feel like I was way too verbose with that, but yeah,
whatever.
That's my question.
I loved it. So
you love every question.
I just enjoy a good question. Okay. But so this is interesting because I view a lot of situations really similarly. Like, I always think at the beginning of the run that, like, this could be my PB. Like, let me try as hard as possible, right?
Or
Just
this
like how
could be the tournament that I win.
Exactly. This could be the tournament that I win. This could be the time. This is my breakthrough. This is when I'm going to do it right now. You know, so a lot of times, like, in mental preparation, even just at the start of something, like, it feels really similar to me. Also, when there's really important moments where I have to close something out, I'm like minus 50, right? Going into Corona, fucking, I just have to close it out. I have to hit fast boat, and I have to do the goddamn Bowser fight. I am really good at not choking those situations, or at least not choking mentally. Like, if I die probably because of some executional thing, but it's not because I'm, like, freaking out or something. Similarly to how, like, if I have a lead in Melee, we're going into game 5, and I'm up 3 stocks to 1, like, I'm good at not choking that situation. It's a little harder to clutch things in speedruns for me, at least, because sometimes you just don't have the time save. What are you supposed to do? I can't whip out a new technique right now.
And
or
also,
something.
we were talking about this with Chillin' Dude. I think the biggest difference between speedrunning and Melee is that in a speedrun, there's actually, like, with every interaction you do, there's more on the line, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Because if you SD in a Melee match, it doesn't really matter. Like, you can still, like, recover that, just play better than them, like, for fewer stocks. Like, it's fine. In a speedrun, if you fall off somewhere, that time save's not coming up. That's, like, objectively, you lost that time.
Exactly.
So it's it's a lot more punishing to mess up in a speedrun setting.
But I, like, in terms of going for the hard things if I have to, and, like, not being nervous and that kind of stuff, like, it feels very similar the way that I think about it in Melee. Because it's part of the way that I frame nerves, like, I'm on stream in front of a bunch of people playing the speedrun, and, like, oh, I literally just fucked up, but I have to hit this technique in order to do the thing. It's like, I'm not freaking out in my head. The way that I phrase it, because I think it has a lot to do with mental phrasing, is that I'm not nervous. I'm excited because it matters to me. Like, I want to impress the people that are in my chat. I want to get a better time in the speedrun. I want to hit this difficult technique because it matters to me. If it didn't matter to me, then I wouldn't be nervous at all. Like, it would have nothing to do with me mentally. And that's how I feel about Melee all the time. It's like, if I'm in an important tournament match, it's like, the reason why you might get, like, adrenaline shakes or something like that is because it matters to you. It's not because, like, oh God, like, what's everybody gonna think of me? I'm in my head thinking, this is important to me, so this is the time I'm going to execute. And I try to utilize the adrenaline my body gives me from being excited to help myself focus as much as possible. And that comes through both in speedrunning and in Melee for me.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
You know what? The question answer combination, beautiful. You know?
Thanks, Sid.
Just awesome. It is interesting to, like, think about it in, like, if you're down in a match or behind in Melee, like, or behind in a speedrun, like, how it would compare mentally. Because for me and my minimal Melee experience, like, Trey will tell you, I just kind of, like, buckle down.
Oh, okay, yeah. The biggest difference between me and Sid as far as our limited Melee play goes, let's see. So, I don't know what it is. I swear. We've played, like 100-something hours of friendlies probably.
Oh, yeah.
As long as we've played friendlies, Sid has, like, 2 different modes. Okay. There's, like, a mode, if I'm ahead and he's final stock, and I'm, like, 2 or 3 stocks or whatever, I'm having a good match, without fail, Sid will kick into, like, this second gear where he's, like, harder to defeat. And I always tell him, if you were just, like, always in this second gear state, I would never beat you. Because I swear, Sid, like, flips a switch when I'm, like, about to win every single match, every single time it happens. I don't know what it is, but it's, like, it's crazy.
You've also said that when I'm in that mode, or, like, when you're ahead, you get lazy.
Oh, see, that could be part of it, is that if I'm in the lead, I tend to just sort of, like, be like, yeah, whatever, I'll autopilot.
But then, like, when it's, like, 2 stocks to 1, when it was, like, 4 stocks to 2, you're just like, I should actually, like, try to win this.
I think that's why we have so many close matches, is because the combination of my autopilot laziness and your second gear, like, if you're behind and I'm ahead, it sort of makes it balance out almost. But I gotta work on just, like, always trying my best when it's, like, even I'm ahead.
Yeah, but it kind of correlates to speedrunning in that way, where it's just like, do you, like, when you lose time, do you buckle down or do you fold?
Mm-hmm.
True.
And I like to think that I buckle down, like in a lot of runs where it's just like, oh, I'm plus 30 early on, I'm just like, buckle down. But then I fold, like sometimes. Like, I don't know, sometimes you just mess things up and you suck. It just happens.
As much as I tell myself to like, oh, keep a positive mentality, keep your head in the game, I will have those streams where I'm just like not in a good mood and I'm just like, oh, everything sucks. I'm never gonna get a PB. Duh. I'm not as stoic as I may seem. Believe me.
So
I
just wanted to say one of the things that's kind of tough for me as a speedrunner is I convince myself, like what you were saying, Trey, with like, oh, you see those red numbers and it just does something to you. To me, something like that pops up in my head is like, do I even want to PB this run? Like, is this a run I would be proud of? Like, if I end up clutching this and it's like, -3, was this really worth, like, getting all these terrible times and all these different ILs? Like, it just feels, I can do better than this. I'll just start over. So sometimes it doesn't feel like that run is worthy.
The lie that your brain is telling you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a PB is a PB.
It absolutely is, but also it feels like in speedrunning, it's a dedication of time, right? It's like, okay, if I'm 20 minutes into the run, but I'm plus 1 minute, it's like, okay, the amount of time save I have in the run, I could probably PB this. It probably wouldn't be the most amazing thing ever, but I'd also have a really easy early game to be green on next time. But like, do I really want to commit the next hour and a half of my life to actually doing this? Or do I just want to restart and have a better run? Like, my mind plays these weird tricks that want me to fold, right? Like, they're like, I'm not buckling down. There's all these little weird things in my head that want me to fold.
Yeah.
See, my thing when I was grinding for a 114 before I got one was always like, dude, so many people already have a 114 now. You'd be like the 20th person to get it. Who cares? Like, why are you struggling? You're struggling this much to get this thing so many people have. And then, I don't know why, like, toxic thoughts can just come into your head like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard for me to find the motivation for any percent. But to bring it back to just random questions.
Sure.
Right? We were talking about buckling down versus folding, or just Super Mario Sunshine in general. To bring it back to Melee for a moment. Way earlier, I wrote this note a while ago and I didn't know how to slide it in, but I'm just going to slide it in randomly.
Perfect.
He slid it in.
I'm just sliding it in. So you were talking about playing your Kirby and how, like, people against a Kirby would just be nervous. Just like, oh, like, they'll either buckle down or fold, right? Is there any character or even a player, like just a player in general, that makes you, like, have that internal conflict during a Melee match? Like, maybe it's a higher seeded player than you, or just a Luigi,
or maybe like someone just that you're supposed to be better than, but like if you lose to them, people are like, oh, Ginger kind of falling off. I don't know.
Like if you start falling behind, do you have this conflict ever?
The unfortunate thing is that this question is just gonna have a boring answer, which is no. I never think of anything like that.
That's good.
It is.
Like, did you ever used to?
I will say that there were certain times when I would play KJH. We would play at every local, by the way. I don't know if you know how much we've played, but like, there'd be 3 locals every week, and we'd go to every single one of them, and we'd play at least 2 sets, because we would always be in grands together, and we'd always play winners finals together. So it's like, well, either we're playing 2 or 3 sets, and we're playing 3 different times a week. Andy comes over to my house. And he would win over 2/3 of the time. We literally kept a sheet for a really long time that had all of our stats and everything.
Wow.
Yeah, he would win over 2/3 of the time.
When did that go away? When did that stat sheet go away?
It's called the coin sheet, and it was like one guy who was willing to compile all the stuff. But yeah, and then Kalindi stopped playing as much and blah, 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 blah. But there were some times where I would go to a local, and I would almost convince myself beforehand, like, well, I'm getting second today, like, I would just feel like I'm not playing that well, and like, okay, Kalindi like will hit me with some combo to start the first match, and it's like, Jesus, this guy's on one today. Like, I know myself, and I'm not going to be able to beat him today. Like, that's how it feels. That's the closest thing anything like that has ever come to, where like my mind is literally preventing me from being able to try my hardest or like expect myself to win. But like, you put me up against Zane or Mango or IBDW or any of those guys, like, I believe I can win, and I will try my best to do that.
Nice.
So there isn't like a character.
No character. No.
No character. No. It's
No.
just always player.
Yeah, I mean, if it's ever anything, it would be a player.
If it was ever a factor.
I think a lot of people that don't play the game on like a super high level. When I say super high level, I don't mean like the difference between you guys and a top 100 player. I mean like a top 20 player, maybe top 10 player.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The thing is, you have to be well-rounded. It can't be like, damn it, there's an Ice Climbers in my bracket. Like, what am I supposed to do? It's like, no, dude. Like, people think I have some sort of Falcon problem. That's a pretty common thing that people think about me. And it's not like I look at my bracket, I'm like, dang it, dude. Gatsu again? Like, can't I just get a Fox? Like,
That's why you teamed with him at low tide.
I did.
Because you didn't want to face him.
Yeah, right. I wanted to get on his good side. But so like I'm over that. If I was still worried about character matchups after playing the game for over a decade, something is wrong. So yeah, it's not a character. It's only maybe if I have some really long history with a player or something like Kalindi in that instance, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think this would be a really good time to go into our question, Trey. Like we're not like nearing the end, but I feel like we could probably, with Ginger as a guest, we could probably just naturally just talk about pretty much anything.
You can ask me any. I'm an open book. Okay.
I think I gave the question the last 2 times or something.
Okay. I'll give it.
It's your turn.
So Ginger.
Yep.
You know, you're on Luminosity Gaming. You have achievements in your past, right? Or maybe even in your future. You know.
Thanks.
Or even in your present, being on this podcast right now.
True.
Wow, what an achievement this is. So this is a hypothetical, right? Just close your eyes and visualize this. You're in a suit.
They're closed. Yep.
Right? A really nice powdered blue suit.
Okay.
You know, just powder blue. It looks really nice on you.
Okay.
Who knows? And you're walking into this building, right? Tall building.
Tall.
Just covered in marble, right?
Ooh,
it's
fancy.
Marble building, marble tables, marble benches, everything.
There's this art. There's this purple art piece that's like crystal to the side that you don't really understand, but it looks expensive. You know, and you're walking by it, and you're just like, man, this is somewhere. This is some place. You know, this is a place to be for people that are people. You know.
Yep.
And you walk to this elevator, and it's just pure glass, and you go to the top floor, right?
I thought you were going to say pure marble.
You feel trapped. It's marble. It feels like it's going to fall. But yeah, you go to the top floor. Doors open. There's just it's just a large room with a desk.
Okay.
Right in there. And at this desk is in also a powder blue suit, Kalindi.
Whoa.
He's just sitting there. And your task right now, maybe this is an interview. Maybe you're just handing him your gaming resume. On this gaming resume to get whatever job you want within the gaming sphere, right? What do you put on it and hand it to Kalindi?
So my eyes.
Your gaming achievements.
Can I open my eyes?
You can open your eyes now.
Okay. So what do I put on my resume of gaming achievements? That's the question, yeah? Wow. Well, I've actually made a resume of gaming achievements before.
Really?
Well, yeah, because I had to give them to sponsors to see if they wanted to sponsor me. They don't follow my whole career. I got to tell them what's up.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Which I guess you probably asked this question to people, and they've probably not made resumes before. But
wait. So you're telling me when you get onto an esports team like Luminosity, you literally hand them a gaming resume?
I did not do that with Luminosity. They did ask me what my largest achievements were, and I like told them in a literal interview. But yeah, usually when I was looking for sponsors, I would email them, and I would email them a copy of my resume.
Sid, you know what that means?
That finishing God Hard Mode Vanquish wasn't for nothing?
Well, yes, that. But also, I think all these esports teams got the idea from our podcast of the whole gaming resume thing. Huh? We started this.
Sure. Yeah.
This is our idea.
So, okay, do you want this to be limited to Melee, or is this anything within
No,
gaming?
this is gaming.
It's whatever you want it to be.
Like I would put so many things other than Sunshine. Sure, I have second place in 96 Shines, but I just finished God Hard Mode Vanquish, and I would put that there.
I literally got the golden axe in Animal Crossing through minor cheating. So, you know.
Oh, wow.
So what up?
Oh my god. The thing is, it's hard because I'm trying to separate the idea of like professional level gaming in my brain to like what's difficult as like somebody that plays a video game. But I mean, like winning Low Tide City, if I had to give like a melee thing, would be pretty impressive.
Beating Axe?
Beating Axe is real good. Beating IBDW a few times, which is cool.
Yeah.
All the top players I've beaten in melee would have to go up there.
Yeah, like we've definitely have guests where they're just like pure speedrunners, and they're just like, yeah, I got this time in this game and this time in this game, and we tried to prod something out of them, but they never were just like, yeah,
and like, okay, I'll bite. I played a lot of Minecraft.
I played a lot of Minecraft.
So one of the only other things that like a grind that I committed myself to was I was trying to get every single Pokemon at the time into Pokemon Sapphire. My sister and I would, my sister's 4 years older than me. We played a lot of the similar games. She loved Pokemon. I had Pokemon Ruby. She had Pokemon Sapphire. For every game that came out, I would get the other one, right? Like I had Silver, she had Gold, blah, 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 blah. So this is Gen 3 of Pokemon, and you can get all of the Pokemon like that were currently out at the time into those games, but it was very difficult to do.
With like trading and stuff?
With trading and stuff, yeah. Or to get Lugia into the game, I don't think that you could trade that through the game. You actually had to get Pokemon XD.
Gale of Darkness, yeah.
And Gale of Darkness, purify the Lugia, and then transfer that Lugia into your thing. And like we did that. And like getting Ho-Oh with some other complicated bullshit. And I think we were like 3 Pokemon away or something like that.
Was it the Reggies?
No, we had the Reggies for sure.
Okay.
What are the Reggies?
There's Registeel, Regice, Regirock, or
Regirock, I think, yeah.
And you got to like read Braille to get them. It's weird.
Yep.
Okay.
You have to do some weird, complicated stuff in that game to get them. But we definitely got them. Yeah. And we got Mew as well in a legitimate way. We had to like go to a Toys R Us for a Nintendo event and actually go get like it traded to us by an official like Pokemon person. It was crazy.
Dude, I want to be a Pokemon person when I grow up. Just like hand out Mews to people. That'd be sick.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
When they're handing their gaming resume out, or their resume out, they're just like, "Yeah, I was a Pokemon person for 3 years."
Yeah,
and that's on there.
I don't think we had Celebi. I think Celebi was another one that you had to go to a Pokemon person for.
And is Celebi, is that one of the really hard trophies to get in Melee? There was like 3. I feel like a Pokemon was one of them where you gotta do like some crazy shit.
I would believe it. I don't know enough about the casual Melee lore as I probably should at this point.
I love that you don't.
Yeah.
Whereas you spend so much time with this game and you don't know the casual stuff.
I think I probably used to, but dear God, it was too long ago that I cared about that stuff. But
yeah.
But anyway, even though we didn't complete the Pokedex, that was like a multi-year long thing. And the thing is, we couldn't reset the Pokemon Sapphire. Because we had to trade all the Pokemon into that game. But I would constantly beat Pokemon Ruby over and over and over again and go to different zones to get different Pokemon and blah, 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 transfer them over. Like get a different starting Pokemon, level that one all the way up, and so we could get all the different evolutions and send that over. So like it was this big task that my sister and I took on. It was like hundreds and hundreds of hours of like playing Pokemon for no other reason than just like catching them all.
That's the goal.
Exactly. So I think
you had to, you know,
yeah.
or
you gotta do it, or else.
So even though we never
Pokemon
got,
guy will find you.
Even though we never got all the way there, I think that was a really big accomplishment.
Question, like we did a top 10 video games podcast before you continue.
Yep.
We went through all of our top 10. KO was on it.
Yep.
And we went through our top 10, and a lot of my top 10 games were like memories I had with siblings or like friends, just like times that I spent. Like my number 9 game of all time was Riven, that I had just played a shit ton with my sister.
That's my brother's favorite game.
That's really interesting.
Yep.
That makes sense because he's like that much older. But yeah, he like all the thing that I valued about that game was my time spent with my sister. would Pokemon Ruby or Sapphire be like one of your favorite games because of that, maybe, or no?
You know, I really haven't looked at it that way, because I actually thought you were going to say, would a Pokemon game be in your top 10? And I was going to say, well, yeah, probably like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which is like my favorite from like a gameplay standpoint. But I really don't have that many memories attached to that game. I just thought it was a good game. But if it had to be one, Ruby and Sapphire, probably just like the memories that I had through the game would probably be more impactful than any other Pokemon game, for sure. That makes sense.
Okay. I just wanted to ask the question.
No, I like that. I think that's
Gen
cool.
3 is the best. I say that as a person who's only played Gen 3 and Gen 4.
Wow.
Gen 2 is the best because I've only played Crystal and Silver.
Wow.
And then Black was just kind of whatever.
I had Emerald and Diamond. I love Emerald the most.
Emerald was dope, for sure.
But yeah, so continue your gaming resume if you have anything.
Gaming resume, dear God.
Yeah. So far to review, it's Melee achievements, winning tournaments, beating top players, etc., etc. Your Sapphire Ruby playthrough with your sister, where you got almost all of the Pokemon Pokedex filled, but you had to talk to more Pokemon.
That sounds a lot lamer when you say it. That's
it's hey, you got to keep filling it. What
I hear you.
Yeah.
God, you really got me.
Guilty
thinking.
Gear.
I've taken a game off the best player in A. In Guilty Gear.
Pretty good.
But I mean, I didn't win the set. That also sounds lame.
Well, that's the part you leave out. Like, I took a game off of him. Period.
True.
See, maybe like after this like if you can't think of anything else to fill out the Melee achievement on its own, like you could just probably fill a sheet filled with your Melee gaming achievement. But if you want to like leave this podcast with anything whatsoever, I know that because we do this podcast, I have tried to complete like playthroughs of games just to like quote unquote, like Kaya would call them quote unquote a resume game.
Ooh.
Just to like be able to fill up the resume and be like, oh, I beat this on whatever difficulty, or I did this one thing, you know?
Dang.
Like maybe you could stream those things.
I should
or whatever.
do that. Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah. What's the hardest game you ever beat?
The funny thing is about you guys asking me these questions is I'm not a single player gamer.
See, I totally am.
Yeah, Melee has just ruined that for me. A lot of Melee players will tell you that, actually. They like either of you guys played Dark Souls?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've played 1 and 2.
That game looks awful to me. I could not do it. But like the thing is, I just can't commit myself to playing this one player game where the whole point is like figuring out the computer's gimmick and then doing your best to beat it. It's like, what's the point? I need a person to challenge me. So I really haven't played that many one-player games, like playing Halo on the hardest difficulty and like beating the story mode. Like I never play the story mode. I would just queue up for multiplayer immediately.
See, single player, it's more about the developers crafting a curated experience to make you feel like, oh, I'm so epic for beating this.
Yeah.
But you can see through the facade of what they're trying to do.
That's kind of how it feels to me. I feel like I could probably get just about as good as I would have to at any single player game in order to beat it, just because I would try to tactically figure out whatever I had to do, and that doesn't feel that cool. You just figure out
the frame data.
Yeah, I figure out the frame data. Okay, this guy comes out over here at this time. I got to do this. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, when he starts this animation, I got to roll to the left.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. See, what's funny about this is that I didn't know you were not a single player. Like I haven't seen a lot of single player gameplay from you on your stream, but like I've talked to KO about playing Left 4 Dead, right? And you're talking about how you don't like single player playthroughs, but he said verbatim that you fucking hate Left 4 Dead.
That's not true. I just I don't think that I would like it.
You haven't even played it?
No, I haven't played it.
It's so good.
I don't even like FPSs that much. I really enjoy it.
Really?
Yeah. Same.
What's the big pull? Like what pulls you to the game?
Teamwork.
Okay.
Teamwork.
And just
being
like,
able to...
like good communication between like where the different zombies are, and on a hard enough difficulty, it's actually like a really hard game.
Yeah.
So like you're in this together trying to survive, like make calls like, oh, there's ammo over here, or there's a boomer that's an enemy type over here, stuff like that. And like the enemies are always randomized in a way as you go through the level. So it's not like you never know where the more like the special zombie enemies are going to be. It's
Mhm.
always like sort of randomized.
So
And it makes like every go through of a level as you like attempt it sort of feel like there's almost like an element of RNG where it's like, oh man, this is the run. We got, you know, easier zombie spawns. We can maybe we can win this time.
mhm.
It's kind of exciting. So
Yeah.
So I'll tell you where my Melee player brain goes when I hear all that kind of stuff, which is like, okay, as a team now, we figure out the computer's gimmick, and there's and there's RNG involved. Like, go have fun. And
well, I mean, the RNG, it's like not really. It's more
As
just
a
like
team.
I get it.
sometimes they throw like so much shit at you. It's like, what the fuck?
No, I get it. But the thing, I could try to separate myself from that place, you know, and just enjoy a game for what it is and maybe not take it so seriously. I view everything as a competition. You guys, if you really think about it, the one single player game you guys have seen me play is fucking Super Mario Sunshine. And the only way I can force myself to play that game is if I make it competitive against other people by speedrunning it.
Is it purely the competition? Well, like, I know the Rico 4 IL was purely competition because Plankton got a whatever time and we were just, like, hanging out trying to beat it. And, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's almost entirely competition, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not self-improvement at all?
Whew. Not really. One of the things that I was really sad about was Colin quitting the game. Because I told you I wanted to have a good competitive thing with KJH, and he ended up just never playing it with me.
Yeah.
But then I had Colin, and Colin randomly was just about as good as I was. And then I beat Colin's time, he beat my time, and I was like, oh, no, fuck this. I gotta beat this guy's time. Then I beat it, and then he quit forever, and I was just like, oh, this is whack.
He quit because you beat it.
It was sad.
Is that your actual theory as to why he quit, or was he just like bored of it?
He said he got bored of
bored.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. He seems like a guy that just gets bored of games.
Yeah.
Yep.
I believe it.
But well, if you get good enough, we can compete with you.
That'd be dope.
There's the motivation right there. Boom.
There you go. Get down to 116
Get
and we
a
can
114.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can go back and forth.
I mean, hey, I'll try. Okay.
Hey, I'm sure that Luminosity would appreciate Sunshine's skill in some way.
I actually brought up Super Mario Sunshine in my interview with Luminosity.
Really? In what context?
Yeah, so they were like, so what do you stream? Like, is it exclusively Melee? And I was like, you know what? I've actually been doing a lot of Super Mario Sunshine speedrunning. And I explained it like,
and they went, ooh,
ooh, ouch.
Ooh. No, ooh, good. Ooh.
But I just kind of explained that there's a lot of crossover between, you know, these are Nintendo games, so a lot of the viewer base can kind of bleed over, but also there's like a new viewer base that I might hit by streaming this game as well. And it's something competitive, just like Melee. You know, Melee and speedrunning are really high execution games, which a lot of audiences really enjoy as well. So I'm like, sort of, cross-platform, what's the word?
What is the word?
Something pollination. There's like a cross-pollinating.
Yeah, cross-pollinating communities.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm getting a little bit from every community.
Okay.
And I was like, well, my numbers might not look so good for my average viewers because I'm not that good at Sunshine yet, but I'm planning to be. And a lot of unique viewers seem to enjoy that content. And they were like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah. If you get good enough, people do like to watch you play it.
Yeah.
If you have somewhere to go.
No, I have nowhere to go. You want to hear more about gaming achievements? Oh, we were just talking about how it's like almost purely a player-to-player thing. Which is why I think I took a pretty long break after Colin quit. Like, I played for a couple months after that. But if Colin was still playing, if Colin had a better PB than me right now, I would be playing Sunshine right now instead of being on this podcast. I swear to God. Like,
you have to constantly, you know, there's this thing. Actually, this is a good transition to like one last point I want to bring up before we like sort of wrap this up.
Sure.
There's this thing called a leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard of it?
Absolutely.
How about you check out this a thing called speedrun.com, this brand new website. There's actually a Sunshine
has a lot
leaderboard.
of ads on it.
Oh yeah, if you get past the million ads, you can eventually see the times on there.
Yeah, speedrun.com, leaderboard, a lot of times on it, ads.
Once you see
can't miss
like
it.
3 Geico ads and 2 Allstate ads, they're all insurance for some reason. Look through the insurance ads, you'll see this list of times and ranks by them.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just saying, like, hey, maybe pick out a random person and be like, fuck this guy, I'm going to beat him.
Mm.
And then boom, there's your motivation right there.
if there was not a leaderboard, I wouldn't play the game at all. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of people's perspective.
Yeah,
maybe.
I love grinding leaderboards. I could do it forever on any game. I usually do it for things like when I played World of Warcraft. My whole thing is that I really like playing PvP, and there was a arena leaderboard, and I wanted to climb the leaderboard. Yeah, the thing is, I don't have a deep personal connection with anybody that I'm like close to beating right now. I want to beat Chillin's time because I think that would be fun.
Ooh, that's a good goal.
So fun.
That's a good
It'd be
goal.
so cool.
It'd be so fun, right?
Dude,
still
I would love to
ways
see.
Away.
I bet that if you beat him, like Chillin's gonna be like super fired up. That'll be an intense matchup.
That'd be dope
of mines.
I think I'm closer than I might kind of feel. I don't know, because I play on emulator. If I don't play on emulator, I save like a couple minutes or whatever. And I have some really easy time.
Wait, emulator's slower?
Yeah. Well, this is what Colin told me. I don't fucking know anything. I trust.
I don't know. I feel like a couple minutes is definitely exaggerative.
No,
but,
he told me it's like 3 or 4 minutes, dude.
Do you trust everything KO tells you?
Look, that guy's a nerd, okay?
Well, I mean, you can always trust a nerd, right? He's probably right.
That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. I can't remember exactly how long it is. But I'm saving time if I play on a stupid console. My time is actually currently too good to be accepted by the leaderboards because I play on emulator, which is why I'm not on the leaderboard at all.
I think we lowered it to 125.
Oh, really?
You can submit it now.
Oh, that's fun.
It was 135, and then video was 125. And then we're like, wait, let's just make them both the same, 125.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then
I'll probably do that then.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I'll climb the leaderboards, but we
know that your main focus is obviously melee. So.
But I mean, I still want to. I want to compete in Super Mario Sunshine. If Kalindi played the game, and we like had this back and forth, I'd probably definitely have like a sub 120 at this point. I don't know, it'd be some really good time.
Does he know that?
What do you mean?
Does he know that that you want him to play?
Yeah, I mean, he's just like I said. He has his own stuff going on. He's like in a coding boot camp. He's trying to get like a real human job and stuff. So
a real human job. Oh man,
I know, spooky.
But yeah, with the leaderboard thing, I guess to like in on sort of like a newsy thing in a way, speedrun.com, there was a recent controversy with a layout change that it had. And I don't know, like if you've seen the site recently, but the list of actual times is like a little bit smaller and harder to read unless you like zoom in.
It's weird.
And then the sidebar is like a lot different, like the font's different and stuff. It's not bad, I guess. It's different. I just kind of wish like the actual times were bigger.
But it's good that they have just as many ads.
Oh yeah, you gotta have those ads. You know, you gotta monetize everything.
I'm seeing 3 ads. Yeah.
The biggest controversy was actually with they decided the people who run the site now. I don't even know. It's some team or something now. They had the wise idea to add a comments section below every run.
Whoa!
You could go to any run on the site, moderation free, leave any comments you want on any run. Just like
weird.
You would click on a time on leaderboard. You could scroll down below the video and stuff and just see a comment on there.
Weird.
And this was really bad because immediately, the internet plus unmoderatable chats on perhaps there's some viewers that don't like a certain streamer can like get seriously harassed. I think that like Simpsons Hit and Run got hit the worst. I remember like Liquid Wi-Fi. I don't know. I think like some troll viewer of Liquid Wi-Fi who's like the main person in that game was like leaving all these nasty comments and like just totally abusing the system. Mm-hmm. And we're like, wait, comments is not really necessary, especially like unmoderated on speedruns. We don't really need this. Like immediately everyone was so against it.
Well, like every video is probably a YouTube video or like a Twitch stream that you can go and talk in their chat anyway. So it's just like you can leave a comment on the YouTube video or just talk in their chat.
Yeah, I think the whole idea was for somehow boost engagement to the actual speedrun.com site, which like, sure, okay.
I guess it makes sense.
But yeah, again, there's no reason for it, and it just leads to a lot of trolls everywhere, like if you don't moderate it. But then, thankfully, I think just today, there was a turnaround time of like a few days since they rolled this out. And the speedrun.com team has actually allowed individual games to enable or disable comments on their runs. So currently, and like frame 1, Noki Doki disabled Sunshine comments. So thank you, Noki Doki.
Good job, Noki Doki.
But yeah, that was a recent controversy with the site. I don't know what they're doing with it. The layout is really weird now. They just got to make like the actual, the most important part, the times, make it a little bigger. And I don't know, maybe it'll be good.
That sounds good to me. So I'm taking a look at speedrun.com right now.
You're seeing it right now?
/SMS, right? And
whose time are you picking?
Who are you going to beat next?
Wow.
Announce it now.
Should it be a complete random? Wait.
Why not?
Does this fuck have a better time than me? Where's Plankton's secret formula?
I don't know.
I'm gonna
control F.
Yeah,
he has a 123.
Oh, this guy's going down. All right, I'm picking.
There you go. There's your motivation right there. Boom.
Wow, why is he Plankton underscore on here? That's different than Plankton secret formula.
I guess Plankton might have been taken.
All right. Well, so I'll beat his time, but so something I really want to talk about is what is going on with Redacted, because I'm looking at the leaderboard any percent, and the number one placer is Anonymous 8.
I was just thinking about it and just like, dude, it's coming to near the end of the podcast. Like, I feel like the end podcast conversation, because we usually like have like some sort of conversation after the podcast is recorded.
Sure. Just like wrap this up in a neat little bow. And
okay, so there was a document that dropped within the Super Mario Sunshine Discord made by all of the moderators. Not all of the moderators at the time, but because some of the moderators were actually involved in the controversy.
Were the people getting redacted?
There was a leak, I guess, of just a lot of vile shit like racism, transphobia, misogyny, pedophilia.
Pretty much like check all the boxes.
Whoa.
Yeah. Like there was just from that group of Sunshine players, and that is why at the top of the leaderboard there is now an anonymous, and there should have been an anonymous at around 15th, but he has removed his time. And if you look at the IL leaderboards, they are littered with anonymi. Wow. And
the anonymous hacker 4chan has taken over the IL leaderboard. It's really something.
They have been anonymized and removed, as our podcast title from a couple weeks ago has stated. And they cannot submit anything else, but their times are still on the board. And it's actually been like igniting some inspiration within some runners to actually try to beat some of these times.
So are they banned for life?
See, they can still play the game, obviously. They own the game, they can play it. But the community just simply won't allow them into their circle because of what they've done.
Wow. Okay.
So
yeah. I don't know how much you want to dive into this, and apparently it's something you guys have already talked about. But like, so these are just like text chat messages of them like saying racist things and transphobic things, or like
videos they made, posted to YouTube.
They would target and harass specific people, including Sid and stuff.
Hey, how's it going? I told, like, actually during the podcast, I did mention the fact that only a few people had known about the like raid that was sent to me, and you are one of those few people. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's like a small portion of whatever was in this document. Like like after this podcast, you can read it.
Yeah, sure.
And stuff like that. But yeah, that's why because I know we mentioned it in the pre-podcast, and I was thinking about it. It's like, oh, it's coming near the end of the podcast, and then you were looking at the leaderboard. I'm like, he says he sees the word anonymous, and I
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and actually, that's why I removed my world record is blank like on my stream layout because I just wanted to avoid that question of like, why is it 113.16 by anonymous? Who's anonymous? I would get that like over and over again. So I'm just going to remove this. I don't care.
Why don't they just remove these times from speedrun.com too?
That is also a possibility.
It's been talked about. It's like been shot. The idea has been shot around where some people are like, it's not that important to like keep the world record time or even like whatever 20th time on these boards if we want to just like stop the conversation about it entirely. And I'm kind of on that side. Like if people want to, if people have their goal of beating, like I know my goal in 96 Shines is to still beat the time that is set by one of the redacted people. And like, I would still know that goal existed, but if the board said I had world record, I wouldn't really, I would be okay with, but like deep down, I'd be like, yeah, I know I still don't have it, but I still have this goal. Yeah, just like to not inspire questions.
The big question is the leaderboard, should it be just an objective, like this is the definitive list of everyone and all their rankings, or should it be more reflective of just the community? And then like, if you remove these times, people in the community would still like know what the times were in the past and could still view it as like a goal, even though they're not visibly on there.
Yeah.
So I used to be, initially I was fully team, like, no, leaderboards are sacred. You cannot remove these times.
Mm-hmm.
But as time goes on, I'm sort of leaning towards like, yeah, they don't have to be like, the leaderboards are not gospel. It's a lot more fitting for just being representative of the community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sort of opening my eyes a little bit to that.
One of the things that Ludwig said when a bunch of this type of stuff happened in the Smash community is that you shouldn't just glorify somebody because they're good at a video game. There are going to be people that are better than that person at video game, and there are people before them that are good at video games, and like life will go on if their achievements are gone, you know? Like if they're bad people, sometimes they don't deserve to have, you know, the glory of being good at a video game.
Yeah, but like it's also the fact that they aren't allowed to submit at all anymore.
Yeah,
it's like, so it's just like, well, like if we're cutting off that like pipeline for them to be able to like maybe even improve their time or whatever, then why have the time at all?
Yep, yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It's just like, oh, you just stop Usain Bolt from running, kind of a thing. Like not to like, right? It's that kind of thought process. But yeah, to go back to because you live in the redacted zone, right? Like we were talking about it before the podcast, it's just like, oh, why are they redacted? Oh, we could get into it on the podcast.
Yep.
But you operate within the Smash community, which has all of
Smash
this drama.
Smash is the redacted universe.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so like I know you haven't read through the document, but like are you surprised or?
Here's the thing: is that I think that any community of people is going to have pretty awful people within it. As long as the community is large enough, right? So
especially in gaming.
Especially in gaming.
Those
agree.
gamers, man. Watch out.
I agree there's weird gamers, but there's also just weird people. Like, even in, like, church communities. Like, there's going to be people that go to that church that are probably fucking crazy people that do terrible things, right? Like, literally anywhere in life. You jump into a community, there's going to be some bad people. And it's not surprising to me that some of these people are, like, found out or whatever. Especially in the online era. So it's not too terribly surprising. One thing that people talked about when all of this stuff was happening in the Smash community is that it just seems like there's so many pedophiles in... I don't know if you guys really want to talk about this. It seems like there's a lot of pedophiles in the ultimate community specifically. Maybe not so much the Melee community. And the way I see it, and this is like a pretty terrible consequence of living in this world that we live in right now, is that the Ultimate community just has a lot more younger people involved in the community than, say, like the Melee community that's been around for longer. Most people that play it are a bit older. So, like, the reason why there might be more pedophiles that are, like, actually found to be, what's the word? Like, they actually did the action. Offending. Pedophiles that actually...
It's no longer alleged.
Yeah, it's no longer alleged. It's actually happened because they had access to be able to do those sorts of things. And those are just terrible people that are within every community, you know?
Right.
So, like, here's this gaming community of, like, unhinged, you know, teenagers and young adults. It's like, it's not too terribly surprising to me that people have made, like, bad comments or, like, behind the scenes made dumb videos or targeted and harassed people. It just seems like every community has problems like this, I guess.
But it's important to also, like, have the wherewithal within the community and the moderation team to actually remove them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I was thinking about it. Maybe it's uncouth to say it, but I'll say it anyway. It's like, what if it's just like, oh, why are they anonymous? It's just like, they were just too good. They were just too good. We wanted them out.
We were like, okay, we got to get these guys out of here. They're making us look bad. What do we do? Let's just create some fake screenshots, fake video.
No, don't say that.
I'm just kidding. They really did call you a cuck.
Yeah, they did call me a cuck.
True. Okay.
How rude of them.
Last thing I'm going to say about it, if I can have one final word about this little thing,
sure,
is that it's a very mature thing as a community to say, these are things that some of the worst people in our community have done, and we do not want our community to be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think like even removing them from the leaderboard would be an extra step in that direction. But like in the Smash community, we got a lot of hate for, you know, like people will just say like, oh, the Smash community is full of redacted, terrible individuals. And it's like, dude, in the Street Fighter community, there's probably tons of people that are equally as bad, but like you guys just don't want to out them or like have these sorts of talks. But like literally purging these people from your community is a benefit to your community. So I think it's a great thing that, you know, we're getting rid of these people.
Yeah. Well, it does suck like the like post redaction period where it's just like I was actually in a call with KO not to talk about KO the whole fucking time, but I was in a call with KO and one of his friends, Mello, was talking about just like, oh, I heard about the Sunshine shit. It's just like, oh, Sunshine's just filled with these guys. And I'm just like sitting there going like, no.
Where does that come from?
It's just like, why? Just like the fact that we had these 8 people that were just toxic and shit, and we announced it, and all of this evidence came out, and we have removed them, and it was expertly performed by the moderator, because some of them were actually moderators.
Damn.
So it's just like, it had to be carefully executed around them. And, yeah, so like this was all done, and then just to be belittled, where it's just like, oh, now Sunshine's just filled with these people. It's like, no,
that's never even been like a thing to be like, oh yeah, notorious for those kind of people and playing Sunshine. Like that's not a thing. I don't know where that comes from.
It's just weird. That like you probably heard it. Like I hear it with Melee even still, or not Melee, but Smash even still, where it's just like, oh, well, you have a lot of experience with like I think. It was like a Ludwig stream or something. He just randomly gets poked fun at, just like, oh, just pedophiles in Smash.
Yep.
And it's just all the time. And stuff like that. But yeah, it's an important thing to actually be able to purge them from the community and like move on.
Exactly. And addressing it publicly is also important. So like eating this blowback of like people perceiving your community one way or another at the end of the day is worthwhile, because you just want to make your community a better and safer place. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well said.
Well, yeah, do you want to just end on that? Or like, I have like another question relating to the resume, but we could just kind of like, we're hitting 2 hours right now, or about to hit 2 hours.
I have as much time. I could go until 6 in the morning.
Is it a quickie?
Well, it's the special skill, right? So
go ahead and ask.
So Ginger, you were talking about how you feel like your resume was lacking,
sure,
or to shift drastically from what we were just talking about, back to the resume, back to gaming, back to the important things about gaming, and so. You felt like your resume was lacking. You have your Melee stuff and you have random other achievements. But another question that I've been asking in addition to the resume thing is just like, on resumes, you have special skills, like hardworking, like you put hardworking for everything. It's so fucking lame. And you just like whatever special skill you have within gaming, do you think you have a special skill?
Oh, I was going to say great question again, but you know, every single question you've asked on this podcast has been great.
Thank you.
Yeah, they've
especially mine.
I think my ability to view situations objectively is better than most people. I think a lot of people let their emotions cloud what's truly preventing them from improving or solving like a problem in some sort of game. But I think my ability to analyze, look at it with a clear mind, and separate my emotions from the situation is better than most people, especially when it comes to something that can be something so emotionally charged as competitive gaming. So I'd say that's probably my special skill.
That's a great special skill.
That's a really good one. Yeah, I feel like sometimes in speedrunning, if I'm trying to learn a really hard IL or something, it seems so daunting at first. I'm like, how did he pull off this series of movements back to back just like this? But if you break it down, all it is just like a bunch of pieces of things that you know, and you just got to put it together and like really analyze, okay, if I just do 2 spin jumps and a dive and a water slide, whatever the fuck, that's all it takes. Just do that, and then you do it.
Absolutely.
Ginger.
Yes.
So we're coming to the end of the show. How'd you like it?
It's fantastic. I loved it.
You had a good time?
Yeah, I love both
I thought
of
it
you
was great. I thought it was a good episode.
I'm looking forward to the Ginger KO duel guest.
Yeah.
Is that going to be our next roundtable?
I don't know. Like, we have to think about something to talk about.
That's going to be when we do our top 10 upgrades in the game rounds.
Whoa.
Have you played rounds, Ginger?
No.
KO and I played it once, and he played it with someone else. It's a fun little game. Yeah.
But I think that's I want to make that podcast happen, because I think you and KO have this like Trey and I are a good tandem, but you and KO have this like good banter. I
want to tell a joke. It's
at KO's expense.
At both of our expenses. It's because we have the bond of having dead parents. Which, this sounds like a rough joke, but if Colin was here, he'd laugh at it, okay? Trust me.
I laughed.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm mortified, but...
so like, I can do the Trey, you want to do the wrap-up? I have a last thing that I want to say to Ginger after you do the wrap-up. You'll like the Google Play and stuff.
All right. Well, this has been Video Games Are Hard, episode 18 of season 2. We are on Spotify and Google Podcasts, as well as YouTube on Sid and Trey. I'm going to say it properly that time. And Sid has a thing, I guess. I don't know what's happening.
That was episode 18.
Yes.
Ginger, I have a request for you to end the podcast with.
Anything.
Just say something generically motivating for just gamers.
Go out there and do your best. You've got it.
Woo! That's the end of the podcast, everybody. See you next week.
See ya.